Appearance on Dion's Daily Dose does not imply endorsement from or by any candidate or guest. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by Dion Bergeron or Dion's Daily Dose are his own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of any guest. Material and information presented is for general information purposes only. The Dion's Daily Dose name in all forms and abbreviations are the property of its owners, and its use does not imply endorsement of or opposition to any specific organization, product, or service. If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Dion's Daily Dose. A little bit different today. We're gonna focus a lot less on politics and more about just hanging out. And guinea pigs. So we have this is Orion. Say hi, Orion.
Hi.
He has guinea pigs, right? Now I have a picture of my middle son with the guinea pigs. He's crawling around the desk. That's why. All right. I'm going to share that with you real quick so you can see. That's both guinea pigs. Now, the one closest here, his name is? Bruno. The multicolored one, right? And then the other one is Jinx, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You can kind of see right there. That's Donovan, who has been on the program before. That's him with both guinea pigs hanging on to him. We have Bruno with us here today. Which you can't quite see him right now, but he was running around on the desk, and I was almost convinced that he was about to bite me. He does like to bite people. He won't bite hard, but just a little nibble. I don't know if you can hear him. He makes all kinds of crazy noises. So that's his kind of, his little kid, as it were. So he wanted to make sure everybody got to see him. So he's 17, by the way. Orion is, not the guinea pig. That'd be an old guinea pig. I don't know how old are guinea pigs normally
5 to
live?
7 years.
5 to 7 years. So yeah, that would be a very, very old guinea pig. Orion. He's 17, and this whole lockdown thing has been kind of hard on him. Yeah. As a 17-year-old who he has his permit, he's trying to get his license, he's looking at cars, right? He's wanting to buy a car, but with the new rules, the BMV, you can't get a car plated right now.
You can't even get it your title when your license goes out, your expiration. You can't even get it renewed. Right.
You can't get any of the renewals. If you go to buy a car that's from out of state, you can't even get the police to come and check the VIN number. So there's a lot of things that are very difficult for a 17-year-old right now. He's not able to hang out with his girlfriend.
Yeah.
It's really bothering him. What is, aside from that, right? What are some of the issues that you're having as a teenager? Like, your friends obviously are like, this is crap, we don't want to do this. But
a lot of it comes down to work, because with the way McDonald's is, you can't come in. It's for DoorDash only, and there's a lot of people who just want to come in and order the food and then just want to take it out because the lines at drive-thru can get long.
Right.
Which is understandable, but it just seems like with this virus, we don't know when we're going to be able to open up. There's rumors that we're going to start opening a lobby for the carry out from 7 to 7, but we don't know when that's going to start or how we're going to tell people you can't sit in here and eat because of this whole virus that, in my opinion, isn't as big as everyone's saying it is.
Right. Well, we've seen the news reports, right, where they say hospitals are overwhelmed, and then we see the videos of the empty hospitals. Now he's a lot more fluid with the social media than I am. He can kind of get through that stuff much faster. Hey, Paul, thanks for joining us. So I think you came in a little late. I'm going to put it back up here. This is Orion. He has his guinea pigs up here. That's Donovan, obviously, in the picture, the two guinea pigs. he has one up here, and he's got this fascination with human flesh. I'm telling you, he was up here at the beginning, and he likes to nibble people. So anyway, so as someone, because if you're old enough, right, by the time the general comes around, the general election, if you're old enough to vote in the general, then you can register to vote in the primary, right? So how has that, like, before kind of I started to run, right? Did you have much of an interest in politics?
I mean, when I took the business law, I kind of got into it because we talked about the policies and stuff, and I kind of got a general understanding of it, but I know there's a lot more to it than what you can just get into through school. So, I mean, just getting general knowledge was better. And then once you started, when you said you were going to run, I was interested in helping because it's something new that I haven't done, and I'm always down to learn something new.
Right.
No matter the difficulty, because the more difficult, the more of a challenge it poses, and something I deem worthy of spending time on.
Yeah. So have you noticed, especially in your interactions at school before all this happened, right? Have you noticed that there's more or less conservatives than the media lets on?
I feel like there's a lot, especially a lot of kids my age, they don't really know what they are. They know what they stand for, like they like the amendments, but they have their feelings like about abortion. Some believe it's wrong, some believe it's right. So it's very hard to be, this is the politician that I want to be president or Congress or something. So it makes it difficult for people to know what they want. And with the way media is, it just seems like everything's against whoever's president. You have the right people who are saying that the person on the left's wrong, and the left saying the people on the right's wrong. So you don't really know what's actually going on. So a lot of us have just kind of given up, and it's like our voices really aren't heard because we're at the younger age, and a lot of us don't vote because we don't really know what we're looking for.
Right. Okay. No, that's a really good point. So what would you think would be the best message that you could give as far as to, not me, because I listen, you know that I listen to the younger people, but to the other politicians out there or the other people that are running for office, what do you think would be the best message that you could give as far as connecting with the youth?
Well, I feel like the best thing is you want to get the youth with you as much as possible, especially since there's a large part of us being able to vote this year. You want to do like a meet and greet with them, like specifically for the teenagers, because we don't all know a whole lot of stuff, and there's bigger words that we might not fully understand. So you're just going with like on a one-on-one basis with them. It makes it feel like they're more connected with you. So it automatically helps you have that click with them, because if you do it and no one else does, like, oh yeah, I remember he was there and we talked to him and he helped us through this and he showed us what he was for. And that can give you the extra vote that you may or may, you're probably going to need.
Yeah, especially in the primary, it's very, very tight. We've seen it before in the primaries. It comes down to a very, very narrow margin in some cases. Just, a handful of votes can make all the difference. Paul says, yeah, when you establishment, both are wrong. Left or right. We've seen all of these we've seen all of these kind of politicians get on TV and spew their garbage, right?
It just seems like ramble,
right.
You want to make it short and sweet, because especially for me, I don't have a whole lot of attention. When you keep rambling on about it, I start tuning out or I just lose focus. If you can get straight to the point, and you kind of get taught in school, you want to get the readers or listeners' connection right off the bat, or you're gonna lose interest.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what a lot of people don't do. You see it, even adults don't pay attention. They'll hear it, they'll get what they want, and then it just seems like rambling. And I leave the room where something happens, and there could be more important information that's just not said in a time where you have the person's connection.
Right. That's a very, very good point. I would say a lot of times we would see like something on TV, for example, that I might watch for 5-10 minutes. After about a minute and a half, he's like, okay, and we'll wander off because it didn't grab him, right?
Yeah.
I would say it's really important to kind of grab, and it's not just youth. There are adults too that just have zero attention span. But it's especially with our instant gratification society where nowadays you can get everything instantly, right? You can get it ordered right now. You can get it delivered right now. It's really important to connect with people. Boom, right in the moment.
Yeah.
Right. So what have you seen from national politics, the stuff that you've kind of, caught and paid attention to? And a lot of that isn't going to line up with what I believe. He's an individual. He has different beliefs than I do. What have you seen that you've noticed kind of just grabs you as far as...
One thing I like when I watch people that disagree with the president, for example, you can see it seems like a lot of edits are made. And when I notice that, it gets my attention just to see where they're trying to take it. Because if you notice it's not like the same area or something, you're like, something's up with it, and it gets my attention just to see what they're saying. But if you can get it's hard to explain with media. If you can get straight to the point, I feel like it's easier, because like the live stream with the governor, I just felt like I was sitting there waiting for 30 minutes for him to say, oh, we're extending it. When if you start off, because that's what a lot of people are watching it for, to see when's this quarantine going to end. I feel like if you just start off and then explain, you'll get better than explaining and then saying when it's going to happen.
Right. Okay. I see what you mean. So, like, for example, being very pro Second Amendment as I am, right? Explain that right away, right?
Yeah.
Explain, put the picture like of the back of my truck up. I stand for the Second Amendment, and then get into the explanation instead of leading up to it, because a lot of people aren't going to stick around that long.
And also explaining what it is for people who may not understand. For like the 10th Amendment, a lot of people don't know what that is.
Right. No,
that's for each state. Like that's a lot of people don't even go past like the Fourth Amendment, and then they're like, the rest are just kind of given to you.
Right.
And I feel like it's a lot of schools' fault for not telling us all of them and not telling us what these all are. And I feel like it's very important, because that's what makes us who we are and different from every other country or
absolutely else. Absolutely. You and I share a lot of, and part of it's because I helped raise him, but he's his own individual. He's got his own mind on things, and I've tried to not force too much on you. Right?
You really haven't. Like the only thing that started was with the whole Second Amendment. And at first, I didn't really understand it, and then once I got more into it and I learned more about the school, I was like, yeah, this is definitely something that I feel like we need. And most of the amendments too, you take away the first, you're just sitting there and you get told what to do, and if you say something, it's a hate crime or you're doing something wrong, and it's just like, okay,
right. So that kind of leads into another point. So have you seen? Yeah, Paul just said Orion is far more attentive to the obvious than most adults now. Yeah, absolutely, he's a smart dude. You see a lot of BS, for lack of a better term, right? From these people that run for office, and it's the same tired phrases, right? Over and over. You catch a little clip here, I'm for this, I'm against that, boom, boom, boom. But doesn't it all kind of just blend together after a while?
Yeah, when it's the same message, you just hear it, you're like, all right, nothing new. And
right.
This kind of goes with like the school announcements, because we get the same thing over and over, and the teachers are expecting us to be quiet and listen, and it's just like, why would we listen to the same thing that was said yesterday or the day before? And it just gets competitive, and we're like, all right, we want something new. And I feel like that's why it's difficult for a lot of people to grab a lot of other people's attention, is because of that. Like once we hear it once, we don't really want to hear it again. It's just like, okay, we got it, and repeating it the day after or something like that, it gets annoying, and people just don't want to listen to it.
Right. So what kind of so as they probably figured out by now, he works at McDonald's, right? What kind of things have you seen? Because you worked there before this kind of started, right? And then all of this happened, right, with the stay-at-home orders and all that stuff. What big changes did you see as far as it?
Right off the bat was the amount of customers. At first, when the stay-at-home order came in, we were dead. There was no one ever coming. We got an occasional car. We got maybe 3 cars an hour, and it was bad. We didn't know if to send someone home or not, because you don't know if you're going to get slammed. And as time went on, people were losing hours. I lost a decent amount of hours, and my paychecks haven't been the best. But I'm fortunate, to have a job, because there's people out there who are unemployed right now, and they get the unemployment, and that's all they have.
Right. And some of those aren't even getting that, like the self-employed people and stuff. It's the system is not set up properly for that. But
after that, I started noticing that the corporate itself, it seemed like they noticed the problems with what was going on with McDonald's all around. And for us, we had a lot of cashiers and everything just standing there that couldn't really do anything because they already had their spots filled. And you only go on break for, if you're under 18, 35 minutes, and then if you're over, it's 30. So you only get 30 minutes to do something, and then you get stuck going home early or something.
Right.
So I felt like they even the schedules out more, so you get your right amount of hours. But they started taking more notice that we get free food when we go on break if we clock in on time, and we get $2 to take every hour that we work to take home food with us. And that helps a lot of people. For people who don't have jobs as parents, $2 an hour doesn't seem like a lot until you work 6 hours. You got $12 you can take home. It's not a lot, but it's definitely better than nothing.
It adds up, right? It helps.
Yeah,
and it's a way for the restaurant to give back and help you guys and gals.
That's one thing we were worried about though, because we weren't sure what was going to happen, because it never felt like they had the teenagers' best option on us. Like, it seemed like we were kind of put to the side with what we wanted to see change. And now that we're the ones that are mostly working, because the older people are scared to come in because of this, they notice that we're reliable and they're treating us better than they were before. And it wasn't like they were treating us like crap. It was we were just younger, so we weren't sure. They weren't sure if we were going to stay, if we were going to leave. Because you look at a lot of teenagers, like, they don't want to work. They're lazy. They want to go home, play, and then just go to sleep. And I will say, working at McDonald's, it's shown me a lot of new skills that I've learned and how to deal with different types of people, for sure, because you get the one nice person that, comes in, or you might have someone that's just in a bad mood, and you can change their day just by being nice to them. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's something that everyone just needs. Everyone has a bad day. You just got to be better, be positive and try to help them through. And it's made a big difference, especially working at McDonald's. Like yesterday, for example, we had people for like 20 cars paying for another person's meal, and it started off with one good deed, and it just kept going. And
see, that's awesome.
I never even really noticed it before. And I feel like this whole virus thing, it's kind of brought people closer together than they were before.
Yeah, you see, like, we've seen examples of like people hoarding things and being just terrible human beings. But you don't really see that many stories, even though they exist. The media doesn't like to share the things that we're doing that make us better people, like paying for the car behind you. And you said it went on for like 20 cars, which is awesome, right? The next one pays for the next one, and then on down the line. And that's the kind of things I believe that the media should be telling more of us about, right? We had like the group, the Michigan City Robotics Club.
Yeah,
they made masks. They used 3D print or face shields, right? Yeah. They used the printers that they got to take home, and they were able to make face shields. You don't hear about that kind of stuff on the national news. Now, that one eventually made it to national news, but
another thing, I think the first responders who go and they salute the people at the hospital, you don't really hear about that. And at working at McDonald's, we work right next to the hospital. Yeah, and I got to see that, and you don't see that on the news. You don't see them saluting them. You see it on like social media, and I feel like that's something that you should say. You should see. Makes everything feel like we're getting somewhere else,
right?
Instead of being down in the dumps about all the negative. I feel like we need to be more positive to bring people up, because there's a lot of people who are just down right now, anyways.
Oh yeah. Is that something that? Paul said those who aren't bought into the fear and lies and deception. I agree. Like, you were pretty active on various social media platforms and whatnot. You pay attention to what's going on. Would you say that overall, especially locally, right? You're kind of plugged into the heartbeat of the students. Would you say that it's overall positive or overall negative, or people are just tired?
I feel like a lot of kids are just trying to make the best out of what they have, and some of them it's more than others, and you can tell just by how they act. But I feel like overall everyone's just trying to stay positive and get through it together. And with this whole e-learning, you can see the teachers coming together and helping the students more than you ever have before with e-learning. It was, here's the assignment, we're off from this time to this time, and if you have any questions, you come back to school. Yeah. Well, since we can't do that, teachers are on more than what they were before. You can get the help that you need. And for example, my gym teacher, I couldn't submit my assignment. Yeah. It was a workout thing, and I got it done, but I couldn't submit it. And I texted him, I emailed him, and within 2 minutes, I had a response. And before that wouldn't have happened, it would have been the next day, or I would have had to come back into the school and told them, and then hope my points didn't get deducted because of the way Skyward worked at the time.
Yeah, which is the way that they kind of put stuff into the system and all that. And so overall, we're seeing, I got something rattling over here. You're seeing, like, because we talked about it several times on the way back and forth to work, right? People are getting really tired of being told what to do. Yeah. Right? We have a large number of people that are like, okay, because we keep hearing 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. Right? That's the other thing is, instead of saying, okay, we believe that, here's going to be the curve and it's going to go down. And so we're looking at, potentially, right, May 1st is now the new one. At first it was, for a week, we're going to shut things down. Then it was 2 weeks. And then after that, it was 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks.
And I feel like a lot of people just want you to be straight up. Like, if all right, we're going to be on lockdown for a month. All right, well, then people will take it seriously. And you can see people are just giving up because it's 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks.
Right.
And people are like, all right, I don't know anyone that is. And I know my friends don't know anyone that is. Why am I going to stay inside when I haven't seen anyone that's been infected or that was infected?
Right. And then, that's the other thing, too, is unfortunately, because we have the media, right, I would love to be able to turn the TV on and see the reality of what's going on, right? Not this spin or that spin, but what's really happening. It doesn't help when we have Dr. Birx telling people that, well, unfortunately, they're classifying all deaths as this, when if they just be honest, right, and give us the actual realistic numbers, then we could make informed decisions, right? And we have kids. We're always going to have kids that are going to make bad decisions. Look at the spring break kids, and it was really hard in the beginning explaining to him, here's why. Yeah, I know that more than likely, even if you get it, you're not going to get sick. You're not going to experience any issues or whatever. It's really hard explaining to teenagers why they need to socially distance or stay inside or all these things. It's difficult to explain that, especially when you have a media that is not willing to be honest with us. Whether it's Fox or CNN, you get both sides of the same coin, and they aren't telling us, okay, so here's the real numbers, right? We're looking at this. We estimate that by here it'll be over. It's really hard to explain to teenagers, okay, here's why you can't go see your girlfriend. Here's why you can't hang out with your buddies. Right. And it keeps getting extended because you look at, what you thought was going to be a week or 2 weeks, and then you can get together with your friends again or do this again. I mean, Tom said the younger you are, the more invincible you feel. And that's right. I mean, that's the other thing, too, is you try to explain it's not you, right, that's going to get sick.
It's going to be the older people or the really young, who are the newborns and stuff.
Right. You're going to carry it and then take it to someone else. But when you have the media that's spinning the numbers and inflating the numbers and doing this and doing that, it's really hard to continue explaining to the youth that, these measures are necessary, these measures are important, because they look at you and they're like, yeah, okay. Right?
At first it was believable, but as it kept going on, it was 2 weeks because these are going up. And me and my friends, we were especially confused because you don't see any other deaths. It's all coronavirus. Even if you had a heart attack and you died from it, it was because you had the virus. And I was like, see, that doesn't seem right. And we're watching videos saying the curve's been flattening, we're going back to normal, and then you hear, 2 more weeks, and it's just like, well, which one is it? Can we just get a straight up answer, and that'd be the end of it?
Yeah, and it doesn't help that there was such an obsession in the beginning for the fear.
Yeah,
right. You could see it all across the different networks. It was about pumping that fear, right? Instead of looking at it from a reasonable and intelligent perspective. I mean, we had Dr. Fauci who said this initially, and now he's saying this, and then he changed it again. Unfortunately, instead of saying, okay, so here's what we're looking at and explain it, in a realistic way. Paul says, or the opposite of saying people should go outside and live, you may get this virus, but for most, it's not deadly. I agree. Most people are going to, and that's another thing that I think it was yesterday's press conference where the president and Dr. Birx, I think it was Dr. Birx, who was talking about how we're going to start testing for the antibodies in people who had it but were asymptomatic. They actually had it already and then got over it. Now, I've talked to people privately. I haven't really put it out there, but people have different opinions about when actually this went through already, right? That kind of, maybe this already went through, and, who knows? I think it'll be interesting to find out. She won't come over and actually get on camera, but she, wanted to have him say hi to.
I call him Dap, but he goes by different names, but that's something I came up with when I was little, and that's kind of just something that's stuck with me and my brothers.
Right. He's watching right now, so hello. But yeah, we have it's really hard to convince teenagers, right? Especially ones who are almost adults, right? Like that close, practically an adult, to convince them that, hey, this is important. This is real. You know, the news told you this, and I know, you know, you feel that, but this is a legitimate concern, right? You catching it and taking it and giving it to somebody else. But when you have these people, the news and the various governors, they're talking about, oh, it'll be, you know, we just need this much more time and that much more time. It's hard to talk to them and say, you know, well, unfortunately, I know what the news is telling you, but the news isn't telling you all of it. And it's hard to maintain that authority as well when they're really close to, you know, adulthood. Paul says they've been scared into staying home and destroying the economy further. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Michelle said, I battle every day with my son who is disabled but still thinks he knows it all. And that's just the way it is. You have kids and adults, right? Kids, young adults who are convinced that they know everything. I know when I was a teenager, I was absolutely convinced that I knew everything, right? That I knew all of it, and I had figured it out. Okay, yeah, she said my son is 20. Oh, at 20, absolutely. I was absolutely convinced that I knew what was going on, and the adults just didn't get it yet. The older adults, that because of technology, because I was so good with technology, that I was able, because let's see, when I was 20, trying to think, the internet was out, right? But it wasn't like super out. It was just we had AOL and stuff like that, you know. But because we were just on the cusp of the information age, I knew that I just knew everything, right? And the good news, though, and I'm very lucky because he is intelligent enough and all of that to understand that that's a natural thing to believe. Yeah. But he knows better. There he is. So, yeah, he's responding. It's good to see you. So, is there anything that you would like to say to the youth out there that are kind of, especially the ones that are just about to vote, right? Yeah. They're just about old enough to vote, and they're looking forward to it. What would you say to them?
I would say this is especially for you, this is your first time voting. This is something that you should take very serious. It's a very special thing. Because for all years before, you were just, another age. You're finally going into the age where you start adulting and having more responsibilities. And I would say do your research on who you want. And I mean, it may not sound fun, but you realize, who best fits you and what you like. And I feel like that's what a lot of people don't know, is they don't know who they want right off the bat because they don't say it on a live stream, or they don't go and just straight up say it. It's you kind of hidden under a bunch of other information that you get confused in.
Right. No, that's good. Do your research, right? We have, especially right now, you got so much time on your hands. Look into not just for Congress, but for your mayors, your
school council stuff.
School council, whoever's running. Go to Ballotpedia does a pretty good job of at least letting you know who's running, and those that filled out the surveys. There's a decent place. Vote 411 is another one. There's voteusa.org or something. There's a bunch of them out there, but there are resources that you can use in order to find out kind of where you line up with, right? But definitely do your research, look into stuff. I think that's really important, because I know when I was just barely old enough to vote, right? I was so excited because I was going to be able to vote. But I had no idea who to vote for, what they stood for. None of the stuff really made sense to me. I didn't know what being a Republican meant. I didn't know what being a Democrat meant. I just knew what I believed, right? I think that's really...
The website has a quiz that breaks down
okay. So there's a website called isidewith.com, right? And it has a political quiz on it. I don't know if you can really see. I'm going to put the link in there, and it's got a good breakdown, right, of where you stand if you just put the things you believe in there, right?
No, or more stances.
yes, no. What is it? More.
You go yes, no, or then you can have more stances, and it'll ask more questions about.
Yes, no, or more stances, and then it'll give you a bigger breakdown. Michelle said to tell you she said hi. Michelle K. Elliott.
Hi. I didn't
She's
know
really
it was
excited. Yeah.
Michelle.
Hi. But there are all kinds of paid websites and quizzes out there to where you can go and look into it, answer the quizzes, and it'll tell you where you stand, right? Or what person lines up with the way you stand. That's really like probably the best advice I could give, because and I think he kind of agrees. Really, just do your research, look into people, because the other thing is there's so much misinformation online, especially when it comes to politics.
Yeah.
You have these people that are making ads, right, that are just outright falsehoods.
And they look so real because of the way they do it.
Yeah, then deep fakes and all of that. Unfortunately, you're going to have a hard time. I think the best thing to do is look directly. That's one reason why I try to do these. I do these live streams so you can, see me kind of in my environment. This is just, this is me. It helps to see what people are really like, right? This is me. I don't put on a mask or change when I get online. Orion has seen me and heard me. He knows this is me, right? And I wish that's one good thing I will say about this is, if there's an upside at all, it's that I'm getting the opportunity to do this and have some more time talking to you and kind of laying things out. That's really about the only upside I can kind of say when it comes to this whole debacle, because everything else is, I mean, just campaign wise, it just threw everything off the rails.
You can tell by how everyone is, not even just you by yourself, any other one that's going for it, they're just as confused as you, even if they were before, because this is a whole new situation.
Oh yeah, because we had forums set up, we had like debates that were coming up, and we were all geared up for them and ready. Okay, so Strauss says there's an original quiz, which is at theadvocates.org/quiz/. I'm not familiar with that one, but there you go. There are many out there. There hopefully can help you to figure out where you sit on that political spectrum and what people are running that line up with what you believe. More and more of the surveys that I sent in are getting published. I'll start sharing those. The websites where they're actually live, like Ballotpedia, for example, and you can read all my wordy responses, because I do like to to talk and type.
I Side With will show you which candidates you agree with, which you don't, and where on what subject. So it goes really
Okay, so I don't know if you can hear her. She said, I Side With will show you what candidates you agree with, which ones you don't, and on what subjects. I don't know if the Advocates does that or not. He said it's the original one, so perhaps. But it's just one thing that might help you, determine where you stand and what your beliefs are and what candidates believe in. I don't know where they get their information from, if they just browse their stuff. I don't know. But we've had some good luck with it in the past, right? It pretty much lined up with the way that at least Liz believed. I don't know that it was 100% accurate on mine, only because they didn't ask me if I thought nuclear weapons should be legal. No, I'm just kidding. That's just a joke. It lined me up with Donald Trump when he was running before. So we'll see. I think that there's still a lot to be figured out coming up. We have this lockdown, which is supposed to be over come next month, the 1st. Allegedly, Holcomb is working with the other governors to kind of open it up. At the same time, Tom says, "LOL, suitcase nukes." Right. Look, there's an entire conversation that can be had about, the Second Amendment, and if it's okay for them, it's okay for them, and all that, right? Paul says, but it's important to talk to and ask candidates where they stand on issues instead of basing off a color or party designation.
Yeah.
Yes, that I wholeheartedly agree with, because exactly what he said. Just because there's okay, let's see if I can break it down. So everyone, there's a stereotype, right?
Yeah.
Of the parties. There's a stereotype that Democrats believe this and Republicans believe that. I'm a Republican because I believe that I want less government, right? Less oversight. That's as a Republican as it gets. But some people believe that Republicans believe in corporate rights, that corporations should, not pay taxes and have this and have that. I am not of that ilk. I believe that human beings should have far more rights than
I just feel like there's different
corporations.
Levels
So it's important to talk to individuals and understand where they stand, because just because someone can, here's an example that I just saw the other day. And you know what? I'm going to go from a personal example. We had when we were at the Chesterton High School and the FOP, we had Democratic candidates who got up on stage and said, I am pro Second Amendment, but, and they followed it up with, they want to ban so-called assault weapons and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All of them are pretty much for HR 5717, which would pretty much get rid of weapons as we know it. She's trying to sneak her. So it's important to talk to them. And you'll notice too, and this is something that I've seen. I have read a candidate's platform on their website, right? And been entranced, been like, oh yeah, this guy believes what I do. And then I've sent them a message, and the fact that they'll just give me the standard party line garbage completely changes the way that I felt about it. Instead of them taking a moment and actually answering, right, they'll send you the standard, oh, I believe, like the Second Amendment, because it's, let's face it, it's the easiest one to toss on the table, right? I believe in that, but I believe in this, but. And it's just like right now with online, right? Facebook and Twitter and all the other social medias. Well, I believe in the First Amendment, and I believe you should be able to say what you want, but
to a certain extent.
Yeah, and it's when you establish that but, that means you don't really believe in free speech, because
it's more of like a limited speech you believe in.
Right. You believe in a limited speech. You believe that someone can say something unless it offends someone. Yeah. And at that point, then it's not really free speech, because unless you agree that someone can say whatever they want, and I know there are legal ramifications for yelling fire in a theater. Yeah. We're not talking about that. We're talking about just saying something that you, whether you believe it or not, just putting a statement out there, right? There's no such thing as hate speech. Do you agree with that? Or
it's hard for a lot of people to understand that, like, hate speech is like, people just automatically assume it's whatever they feel like it is, especially if it's against a race. If you say something, it may come off the wrong way, and that's a lot of the problems with social media, is you don't know how the person that's writing it is feeling about it. Right. So someone that's reading it the wrong way with like a different attitude, he's like, oh, he doesn't like us because of blah, blah, even though that's not what he's saying. He's saying because of situations that have happened before or something like that. It's very hard for them to understand unless you talk on a one-on-one level with them directly. Right. And that's another thing that a lot of people, like, we're such a digital society now that I know that when I was his age especially, but a little bit younger, all your communication was via phone call, right? You were talking on the phone all the time, so you could get inflection, right? You could get tone of voice, and you could get, when something is said, and you could tell whether it was a joke or not a joke or whatever, right? So, but now with everything being digital and everything just
being letters across a screen, whether it's a phone, via text, or with the social media platforms. You just see the letters, you just see the words, and you can put whatever inflection you want.
I've caught myself doing that a couple of times, just thinking, because I wasn't in the best mood, so I assumed that they weren't, and that's not how it was meant to come out.
Right, yes. Paul said sarcasm. Yeah, you know how hard it is? How many times I've been caught up in sending a text, or sarcasm is so hard to convey. I think they need a sarcasm font.
Yeah.
Or a something, right? It's so hard to convey, and it's gotten me in trouble on more than one occasion, I will admit. That's why I try to avoid it whenever possible. It's all in the eye of the beholder, right? Just like let's say your best friend Bob, right? Your best friend Bob is dating someone that you consider absolutely hideous. I mean, like, fell out the ugly tree and hit every branch on the way down. Ugly, right? But that's your opinion. Bob, on the other hand, thinks that this individual is gorgeous, right? It doesn't matter what you believe. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, just like sarcasm, just like hate speech, just like other things. If you believe this represents something to you, then it will. If you don't, then it won't. Just like we're so afraid to talk about stuff anymore, right?
Anything in general that could hurt someone's opinion, like feelings or anything, it's
crazy, man. It is. We have people that are afraid to talk in class because the teacher has made it clear that if you mention anything out of the accepted norm, right, you're going to get attacked. I will say it's probably not as bad in Indiana.
No, I don't feel like it is. Like, I think it's more of like a student-based thing. Mm-hmm. You feel more attacked by like a student if you have this view. But I feel like overall, it's not like you're bullied for it. It's, people voice their opinion and you voice yours. Right. And then at the end of the day, no one hates one another. It's just a different point of view. And I feel like a lot of us learned that from teachers behind, because we would have debates and stuff in class. And he'd be like, set the rules, no screaming at each other, bad behavior. You're simply just discussing how you feel about something. And I feel like a lot of kids have just gotten to that point, and we just want to talk about it, but no one really wants to have that conversation because everyone's scared that it's going to hurt our feelings or we're going to hurt theirs, and everyone just kind of gets butthurt about it.
Right. And it's unfortunate because that has permeated. All of that stuff is top down, right? When you won't allow discussion at the highest levels, right? With, our president, our news media, when they attack somebody for having an opinion that's different, it filters down, right? The parents start believing that.
Yeah.
The school administrators start believing that if you have a different opinion, you can't have that. We can't allow that. The students start to say, well, if this person disagrees with me, that's hate speech.
Yeah.
Right? And let's be real. Like, we used to get so much accomplished by disagreeing.
But just talking to one another.
But yeah, just talking to each other. That now it's like, if you don't 100% disagree with someone, then you're the enemy.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate, because you can agree on 99% of something,
but you have that one thing.
You have that 1% that you disagree on, and all of a sudden you're divided.
I've seen it happen so many times in school. Just different opinions about someone else in school, maybe. And you see it, they're no longer friends. They don't talk to each other. They act like they don't know each other. And I'm like, you're allowed to have different views on other people, and I don't understand why you guys can't move on past it. You have a whole bunch of other things you agree with, but this one thing stopping you from being friends with each other, it doesn't make sense.
Right. And it's sad, And until we get past that, until we start to realize that political correctness is causing a massive divide on both sides. It's not just one side or the other, because I wonder if it comes down to, have you had, I know, like I said, Indiana's like pretty far conservative as compared to, like, California and some other areas. But have you had students in your class that just couldn't handle being disagreed with at all and just completely shut down?
They would get frustrated, and it wasn't even like we were getting attitude with one another. It was like, do you agree with what some of the Donald Trump stuff is doing? And it was like the Second Amendment.
Right.
And I'm pro Second Amendment, and he wanted the rules. He wanted the ARs to be banned because he thought they were assault rifles, even though that's not what they stand for. And when I told him what it meant, he's like, no, it means this. I'm like, no, if you Google what it means, it's not assault rifle.
Yeah.
And when he Googled it and he found it didn't mean that, he didn't know what to say. It was, I'm right. And when you're proven that you're wrong, they don't have anything else to base off the argument. And it wasn't like a victory. It was more like I wanted to show people what it actually means, because the AR is used so loosely that it doesn't matter. It doesn't have an actual meaning anymore.
Right, and that's a good point, because we have the media who has just fed us full of stuff. Paul says nobody goes out their door to talk to their neighbors anymore. They take media's word of reality worldwide, and that is a really, really good point. And it's one thing that I really like about the internet. It's one of the best things I think that the internet has done for us, is allowing us to actually connect with real people who don't necessarily live in the same town you do. They might live across the country, across the planet, which is pretty amazing. That's how we know all of the stuff that we actually know, not because of the media, but because of the real people. Like, for example, with the Hong Kong protests, the media didn't want to show that. They didn't want to show what was really going on. Look at the yellow vests in France. They didn't want to show that. It's only by social media and real people sharing that we know what's really going on. Michelle said people have lost sight of life and reality. It has hurt kids, and technology doesn't help at all. I agree. There are good sides to the technology and the internet. There are bad sides to it. The good side is it allows us to connect with people across the world. The bad side is we don't connect with our family anymore.
It's more, you don't do that face to face. And that's one thing I say, this, like the virus thing, like it sucks, but you go more face to face when you see people, like your neighbors. You check on how they're doing. You keep the distance, or you go just in case, because you never know who may or may not have it. Mm-hmm. But you check up on each other, make sure everything's okay. And especially at work, we're always making sure if someone's not feeling well, or whatever, you used to have to just tough it out and just go through. If someone notices, you talk to them and they're like, hey, if you want to go home, just let me know. And a lot of the managers have relaxed on keeping people over, because if they're not feeling well, they don't want to take the chance of you being sick longer or something. Right.
Which is good. That's an upside. But I will say, Michelle said kids don't even play anymore. It's all about technology and what's on the internet. I agree. We have, and look, I'm overweight. I used to be far, far more overweight than I am now, but we lead a sedentary lifestyle. Mm-hmm. In general, he's in great shape. He's got a fast metabolism. My middle son has a fast metabolism. My youngest son, he doesn't. He has a slow metabolism. So, but you have to encourage that activity, right? Yeah. You have to get up. You have to get motivated. And now especially, right, you go to work, you come home, if you're allowed to work, right? The ones that can't go to work, you sit at home, you watch Netflix, you veg out, you munch out, right? And you're just like, right?
That's the biggest problem is, especially kids, if you want to go outside, you can't really go and hang out with your friends and go play outside. It's more, you're stuck inside, especially. And I hope it changes once it's over. People go back outside and it stays like that, because there's a fine line between being on your phone 24/7 and being outside. And I feel like you need to have that boundary. It's different for each family. Like, you can't have the same family doing something different when they're not, like, they don't have the same respect for, like, outside or something. Like, if you want to stay inside, you have to make them go outside. Mm-hmm. You set up smaller times and you work your way up. For someone that wants to go outside, they just want to go outside and do their own thing. Like, you can tell with that one, when he wants to go outside, he'll just go outside and he'll be out for hours.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he loves, right? The middle child loves video games, but when he wants to go, like, ride his bike or ride his longboard or whatever, he will. And one thing that it's really important to explain, at least to me it's important, is explain to the younger kids that they can still ride their skateboard. They can still go in the backyard. They can still go in the front yard, get some fresh air. Luckily, at least in Michigan City, at least till 10 o'clock at night, because all of a sudden, I don't know, I guess the virus gets worse after midnight. I don't know. Anyway, I'm not even going to get into that. But explain to the kids that they can still go outside. They can still get exercise. They can still, as long as they're safe. Because sometimes the kids forget that. They think that we all have to stay locked in our houses, and we can't go anywhere. We can't do anything. So let's see here. Yeah. So Paul said, I see that majorly in my little hood, and it's sad. 70 degrees and very few enjoying the world outside. Yeah. Right. Not like we were all day with our people. Right. Got it. Yeah. Thumbs up. Thanks for joining us. They need to use your imagination like we used to when we were kids.
Yeah.
Right. When I was a kid, I had a Nintendo and I played it, but most of the time you can only play a little bit, right? I don't know how they play like 24/7 now.
I can't even get I'm a gamer, but I can't get.
There have been marathon sessions, right? You get on the game and you get involved, and next thing you know, it's like, what? Whoa, hold on. Listen, California put sand in all the skateboard parks. See, that's what I mean by we have it better in Indiana. That doesn't mean that I'm okay with our rights being stomped on, like the First Amendment with churches and stuff, because I'm not okay with that. I want to make that very clear.
We do have it better than some.
But we do have it better than some areas like California, New York, New Jersey had a curfew across the whole state, as far as I know. Before, like Michigan City has a curfew, but New Jersey was the whole thing. That's really sad. That's like the guy who got the police called on him because he was playing ball. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Where he was playing ball with his daughter. Mind blowing, right? There's nobody around. They're not going to infect any more people than they would by being home or being out.
And everyone gets scared by it.
Yeah, exactly. She says Nunez tweeted earlier. I didn't see that. I'll have to look that up because that's crazy. Paul says our parents didn't allow us to sit inside. Well, yeah, when I was his age and younger, go outside, come home when the street lights come on.
I remember doing that still.
Here's the thing. I had free range kids, right? You go out, have fun.
Check in every so often to make sure you're doing okay.
Check in every once in a while to make sure you're alive, and all that. When the advent of cell phones, he was older before he got one because he's almost 18 now. But
I was stuck with the flip phone.
Yeah, and that was just so we could communicate. He's mad now. Not mad. We talked about it. He's good. But there's an app that I put on his phone. Not put on it, but we're a member of it, right? It's so that it tells me where he's at. And I don't use it to track him, but some parents do.
Yeah, there are some
parents that sit there and watch like where their kid is 24/7.
It's a good thing for loss prevention, especially when you don't, like, if you forget your password to check where your iPhone is or something, or for Samsung, because I don't remember if they have anything like that. But if you don't have it or you forgot something, you can simply just go on the app and check where it's at. And I don't use it. I don't see it as like a tracker anymore. I see it as something that helps me, just in case my phone gets lost or something.
Right. And the thing is he's I have the same thing on mine, right? It's a family thing. So he can see where I'm at. It's really useful for him when he's at work.
Yeah.
And he's getting off of work and he's like, all right, come on, where is he? Right. Or me or
Mom especially.
Yeah. But so Mary says, when I was a kid, we were outside all day. Had to be in the house when the streetlights came on. We played hopscotch, Red Rover, dodgeball. Yeah, I mean, we used to build tree houses and stuff. It's
so hard to do that anymore because no one really especially the younger kids. I never see you stay in your front yard, play with your brothers, but no one wants to go and.
That's it. Yeah, Paul said Life 360. That's exactly the one we use too. Life 360. And that way he just can see when we're going to be there and how far away we are, whether we've left the house yet or whether, especially Mom, she's
a tendency to say she's on her way.
Yeah, she'll say she's on her way, but then she'll get involved in her stuff. She's over, listen. Don't start. Yeah, so Jack says LaPorte County issue. LaPorte restricts number of people in stores. MC not. Everybody piling in MC stores. That was for a while. Now Michigan City is restricting the number of people in the stores.
It's like 150, isn't it?
There's it's a certain amount per square footage.
I watched a woman with 2 kids get turned away. A single mom with 2 kids get turned away because she had 2 kids with her.
I don't know if you heard her. She said she watched a single mom with 2 kids get turned away because she had 2 kids with her. My question to all these stores that are like turning people away who have children is, what are single parents supposed to do with their kids when they go to the store? That's what I'm saying. Like your age, obviously, sit your butt in the car. But
or stay at home
or stay at home or whatever,
when
right?
like a one,
yeah, when you have
can't leave
little kids, here's the thing, and certain kids, even older, right? Even his age might have problems that aren't immediately visible, right? That might have intellectual disabilities, that might have issues
You can't just
that
leave
you
them.
can't tell, right? Just from looking. So, like, you can't leave them at home. They could hurt themselves. They could hurt others. So, unfortunately, that's, a lot of times you can't tell something what's really going on just by appearance, right? Never judge a book by its cover. Michelle says I'm late all the time. It's mom's. Yeah, I could see that. Oh, Jack said today. So Michigan City's allowing just a random number of people in. They're not locking it down. I will say this. I went to Meijer, and I'm gonna put this out there. I like Meijer. I like Meijer a heck of a lot more than I like Walmart. Walmart, bye. But
it's ever since the self-checkout. I've never.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of Walmart. They went down that road on their own from restricting carrying and putting in the self-checkouts. They were the first ones with that.
Why would I come here? I'm going to do all the work by myself.
If I'm going to do all the work, why am I even coming here? So Meijer, the first day that the mayor put this into effect, right? They had the lines set up, and they made people get in line, and they had the X's where you had to stand. Have you seen it? Have you been there since?
I haven't been. Last time I was there when we got the windshield wipers. I haven't had to go to.
So that was before. That was the night before the mayor's.
Like they had the cart set up. I didn't see the X's because it was still at entrance whenever.
Right.
Maybe I just wasn't paying attention.
Okay. Well, anyway, the next day they set it up, and this is in Michigan City. They had the X's, right? Now, when I went to Meijer, I had to get, I think, milk or something the other day before yesterday, maybe, something like that. I went there. Now, the day after the mayor's order, they were very, very strict. You had to be in line and a certain amount apart. I think the honeymoon phase is over on that because Jack says Meijer had no counting. And I'm not sure that they're really that concerned about it anymore.
I think it's just making sure there's not a ridiculous amount of people inside the store at one time. It's
I think
limited,
that's it
but
too.
It's not super limited.
Right. Michelle says my mom is in Illinois and she has had to leave the grandchildren in the car while she runs in the store. Good thing one is 14. Yeah, that makes it easier. But again, just because someone is older
car. Like,
you can't tell that, right? You might have one with an intellectual disability or something else. Mary says, I hate Walmart. Waited almost 2 hours to check out. Look, when I was younger, like significantly younger, I liked Walmart, especially when I was a driver, right? I liked Walmart in the beginning because you could park in Walmart lots. Samuel Walton cared about America. He tried to make sure that he had American goods. His kids have destroyed Walmart. They have infected every corner of this nation, and it is just, it blows my mind how people can keep defending the virus that is Walmart.
And Walmart donated $2 billion to China.
Oh, according to my wife, which I have not been able to verify, but I trust her. She said Walmart donated $2 billion to China. You said
to build business relations.
To build business relations with China. Seriously, $2 billion. Imagine what $2 billion could do for the poor of America. Seriously, you want to donate $2 billion to China? Get out of here with that.
Was the same thing.
I bet Samuel Walton is spinning in his grave right now.
It was the same thing with Notre Dame. Not Notre Dame. I can't. With the building that burned down. I forgot the name of it.
Oh, the Notre Dame Cathedral.
Yeah,
the cathedral in France.
You see everyone coming out just to help something that it's old and it was something was bound to happen this summer, but you can't help people that are in your town homeless, starving. Like you come out of nowhere with all this money to help a building, but you can't help people out. Right.
That's that's a really, really good point. I'm glad you brought that up because you see, like for example, right, the Flint water crisis. Okay.
Nobody.
All of these billionaires, right, millionaires and billionaires that could have donated money instead of like standing there passing out water bottles for photo ops, just paid to have the city's water fixed.
And
couple
even,
$1 million, they wouldn't have felt it at all, right?
And even if you're just trying to do the good, if you're just trying to do the good out of your heart, you shouldn't have had people take pictures of it. You should have just done it out of kindness and not expected to get any feedback. You just out of good heart.
Right. And they're photo op people. We know that, right? And let's look at the celebrities. We know that that's, what they do. Let me get caught up on comments here real quick. Michelle says, Aldi is not charging the 25 cents for the cart and cleaning carts. They are cleaning. I hope that means they're cleaning it. But I know Meyer is cleaning the carts off. I saw him do it. But I'm glad they took away the 25-cent charge because
I hate that always.
But you know what? It keeps their parking lot clean.
That's true.
It keeps the carts, right? Because 25 cents is 25 cents. Instacart, if you don't want to shop, it's online shopping. It's all over the United States. Yeah. Did you hear about the Instacart strike that they had?
Yeah, because Cameron's sister does that, and
they're
getting overwhelmed constantly.
I can imagine. How bad is it?
They're like saying they're gonna tip, and then
they'll say the tip, and then you just get the food for them, which they pay for, but they don't tip you for you going out there doing it for them.
That's garbage. If you're good, look, I'm a public service announcement, right? PSA. If you're using Instacart, tip. Because that's their gas and their time. Is there an upcharge for it?
I don't know. I would have to ask.
Like, is there a per trip?
Sure.
I don't know how it works.
I know there is for DoorDash. Like, you get percent of it, but I don't know. I think Instacart's like that, just so you can get something since you're wasting your time for it. So I'm not sure, like, if it's a decent amount. Like, I have no idea, but
yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Even if it's $1, a couple of bucks, here's the thing. If you're having these people go and get bag after bag after bag because you're lazy, then right now, I can see that. But it says, people go out and shop for you and deliver to your house. This person says, listening from the UK, hey, good to see you. The kid hold on. I appreciate that. Thank you. Said you're a very clever guy. Respect. Probably him. The kid on drugs. Okay. How did that work out? I don't know. Kroger, Aldi, Myers, CVS, several stores listed $99 a year or a charge for a month use once. Yeah. They get paid. Let the restaurant pay them. So, yeah, I mean, here's the thing, though. On Instacart, there's a certain percentage, I guess, but I don't know. It is very stressful to the people that do. I am experienced in it. Yeah, look, there's all kind. What? You want to legalize meth and slavery? Ray Pooh says that? I don't know, man. I think you're going to have a hard time with that, especially with the laws being what they are. I mean, I think there are multiple human rights violations and stuff. Yeah, we're not for that. Michelle said, you don't make a lot, and some customers have scammed us. I mean, unfortunately, I feel
like that's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Nicest people out there.
We in the UK are the highest curve in Europe. We have a barn. We have been allowed takeaway. We're doing well. We never usually get tips. However, we got 220 pounds this week as keep the change. It's mental. Yeah. Hey, that's good. I think there should be more people really that tip, considering these people, aside from everything else, people need to go out and shop for you because you can't go out yourself or can't or won't or whatever. You're paying more than just for the service, right? They're also putting themselves at risk.
Yeah.
They're going to the store. They're standing in line. Sometimes not standing in line, though, because the Instacart stuff that they'll kind of pick up, that's like DoorDash, right?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
So you go into the store, you get the stuff, that you scan the item, goes into the cart so they can see what you've got, and you check out. So it's kind of like grocery shopping for yourself, but you scan the stuff you get.
Right. So, all right, fair enough. Looks like Michael says no sound. I don't know if it went out. I don't know. So, testing.
I hear you.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we've had people who have had sound issues before, so
try leaving and coming back.
Sometimes if you'll refresh it or whatever, but we have to we have to go anyway. So it's over an hour now, and unfortunately, we have to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I appreciate everyone coming out. Maybe on the replay, I'm gonna try back on. There we go. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us, and as always, God bless you and God bless the USA. Quick note before everybody goes. Tomorrow I'm going to have Donovan back on again because he wants to say hi again. Monday, allegedly, because he said he's interested and he wants to come on, which is Westerkamp running for Attorney General in Indiana. He's going to join us. And at some point coming up, we're hoping to have Donald Rainwater on. We have I don't know who, Daniel Jarity?
I have no idea.
I don't know who that is. I guess that's kind of cool. I'm going to put it on screen so you people can say, looks like Daniel Garrity. I don't know who that is. We might have to Google.
Yeah.
Just to see. Do you want to Google it real quick? And see?
I'm going to check.
I'm hoping it's not. I'm hoping it's a positive thing. Anyway, Donald Rainwater is going to join us at some point. We're trying to figure out the day. Saturday, not today, obviously, next Saturday, one of my Republican opponents is going to join me. And that should be interesting, right? That should be cool. So, huh? Oh, Delano Scaife, right? He has agreed to come on the live stream. Now, so far, we've heard from a couple who have agreed. We've heard from one who said not a chance, which, hey, that's their right. But, okay. So summarize quick for people joining late, please. All right. Summary. Let's see. That's so much. We covered so much. Okay. Basically, we talked about his kind of views as a teenager, especially just, almost an adult, as far as this COVID thing, this stuff that we've been told and fed. We covered how to kind of find out which politicians align. So especially those that are voting for the first time this year. We covered
different point of views for teenagers to the early 20s.
Yeah. We covered, we talked about his guinea pigs. Apparently we're having sound issues. I don't know what's going on. So, I'm going to try. There we go. Okay. All right. So, this person asked, what's his opinion on mixed race marriage? Marriage is marriage.
I'm all for it. I don't think there's nothing wrong with it. If you love someone based off who they are, that's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, human is human, This person said, my grandson is very depressed in this time. Will you shout him out? He will be very thankful. Mike Hawk. Mike, hey, I understand you're sad, buddy. I think that what?
I'm not talking to you.
Oh, fine. Be that way. It's my wife. Yes, I don't know what's going on with the audio, but apparently we're having some issues. So we're trying this.
Yeah.
Say hi to Mike Hawk.
Hi, Mike Hawk.
There you go. All right. Well, that's pretty much it. Feel free to go back. It's on Facebook, right? It's on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Dion for Congress. And we will see everybody. Oh, I thought it was Mike Hawk. Oh, this is somebody else once. Okay. Mike Hunt.
Mike Hunt.
Mike? Yeah. Very, very funny. Okay. Very funny. Well, congratulations on 18. So take care, everybody. We will see you soon.
If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose. This has been Dion's Daily Dose, hosted by Dion Bergeron. Executive producers, Sean Holgram and Michael Beebe. Copyright 2020. Dion's Daily Dose, all rights reserved.